Hello everyone, this is Rig. Welcome to episode 4 of the Gupta Empire series. And today we are going to discuss about Samudragupta the Conqueror, who is the most famous among the Gupta rulers. He is noted for the expansion of Gupta Empire into the northern and central part of Indian subcontinent, and also his personal accomplishments are very much noteworthy. So, without doing any delay, let's get into details. Introduction to Samudragupta. Who was Samudragupta and when did he rule? Title and reign. Samudragupta Parakramanka ruled from 335 to 375 AD. So this was the time period of his reign, that is 335 to 375, roughly 40 years. The Allahabad Pillar Inscription is the primary record of his reign, which was composed by his court poet Hari Sen. So, Allahabad Pillar Inscription is one of the most important source of the Gupta period and key source about Samudragupta, and it was composed by his court poet Hari Sen. The inscription is purely historical, focusing on his military and cultural achievements. So, what does this inscription tell us? It is a non sectarian inscription, means it does not promote or give patronage to any particular sect of religion. The inscription is purely historical, and the main motive of this inscription is to focus on the military and cultural achievements of Samudragupta. The inscription is undated and written after the Ashwamedha sacrifice, reflecting significant royal events. So, this inscription is undated and it has been written after the Ashwamedha sacrifice performed by Samudragupta, and thus it has been reflected as a very significant royal event. Hari Sen, the poet laureate, composed the inscription in elegant Sanskrit, considered superior among Indian inscriptions. So, this has been written in elegant Sanskrit, and this is one of the best written inscriptions in Indian history. Samudragupta's campaigns. Now we will go through the military campaigns of Emperor Samudragupta. Four categories of campaigns are there. Means his military exploits can be classified under four distinct categories according to Allahabad inscription. Now we will go through the four categories one by one. The first category includes conquest against 11 southern kings, including Koshala and Vengi. So, the first category of inscription mentions that he led a military campaign and conquered 11 southern kings, including the kingdoms of Koshala and Vengi. The second category covers nine Aryavarta kings, notably the Naga rulers. So, here in the second category, there are nine kings of Aryavarta, and most of them are Naga rulers. The third category involves the subjugation of wild forest tribes, though their names are not specified. So, there were tribes who used to live in the forest, and the subjugation of those tribes have been mentioned under the third category of the rulers which he conquered. The frontier and foreign powers form the fourth category, and it details the victories over frontier kingdoms and foreign powers. So, these are the four categories of military campaigns led by Emperor Samudragupta. Structure of the inscription. What was the structure of Allahabad Pillar inscription? The inscription is structured into 8 stanzas narrating Samudragupta's reign. So there are 8 stanzas in the inscription, and in total those 8 stanzas narrate Samudragupta's reign. The first stanza emphasizes Samudragupta's early education and suitability for kinship. So, Samudragupta's early education has been given in the first paragraph, and how he is suitable for being the king of the Gupta dynasty, that has been mentioned in the first paragraph. Stanzas 3 and 4 recount his successful battles during his father's reign, highlighting his prowess. So, the founder of the empire was Chandragupta I. So, during the reign of Chandragupta I, also Samudragupta participated in successful battles. So, those battles during his father's reign have been highlighted in stanzas 3 and 4. Stanzas 5 to 8 focus on detailed accounts of his military campaigns and victories. So, detailed about his military campaigns and victories have been mentioned in stanzas 5 to stanzas 8. The inscription lines 13 and 19 provide key details on his southern campaigns and conquests. So, about his southern campaign, most of the information can be obtained from line 13 and line 19. Defeat of the Naga rulers. How were the Naga rulers of northern India defeated? The inscription details the defeat of significant Naga rulers like Achyuta Naga, Nagasena, and Ganapati Naga. So, these are the rulers who have been mentioned as being defeated by Emperor Samudragupta. These conquests likely took place near the strategic locations such as Koshambi. So, Koshambi is one of the most important strategic locations among the transactions of Indian subcontinent. So, these battles may have been taken place near areas like Koshambi. The Naga rulers were either exterminated or integrated into Samudragupta's expanding empire. So, either they were killed, they were put out of their rule, or they were integrated into Samudragupta's expanding empire. The inscription also references Samudragupta's engagements with other foreign rulers. So, other foreign rulers also had developed some kind of hatred or love relationship with Samudragupta, and that have been also mentioned under the section of foreign engagement. The defeat of these Naga rulers marked a crucial consolidation of power in Aryavarta. So, thus, by defeating the Naga rulers, he consolidated the power in the Aryavarta. Now we will know about his southern conquest, means how was his campaign towards the south and what wars did he fight against the southern rulers. Samudragupta's southern campaigns targeted rulers like Mahendra of Koshala and Vagraraja of Mahakantara. So these are the two famous rulers whose name have been mentioned among the defeated rulers of his southern conquest. His conquest included strategic regions such as Vengi, in Irandapala, and Kanchi. So these were the regions which he conquered, and as thus he consolidated his rule towards the southern part of Indian subcontinent. The campaign extended to the eastern coast, including Pallava territories, strengthening the Gupta influence. So he conquered the Pallava territories also and reached up to the eastern coast. The inclusion of states like Samatat, Kamrup, Devaka, and Nepal further expanded his empire. So all these states like Samatat, Kamrup, Devaka, and Nepal were brought under the dominion of Samudragupta. These victories were crucial in establishing Gupta dominance in South India. So, all this together formed his empire, and his victories in South India were crucial for establishing the Gupta rule in the southern part of Indian subcontinent. Atavika kingdoms and frontier states. What were the Atavika kingdoms? Who were the frontier states? Samudragupta subdued the Atavika, means forest kingdoms extending from Ganjam to Jharkhand. So all the forest kingdoms form the areas of Ganjam up until the area of Jharkhand were subdued and brought under his dominion. These regions were brought under Gupta control through a combination of military might and diplomacy. So it is not that in every part of his military campaign there were fights, but also sometimes there was evidences of diplomacy. So all these kingdoms were brought under Gupta control either through military might or through the help of negotiations and diplomacy. States like Samatrat, Kamrup, and Nepal submitted to Gupta rule, paying regular tribute. So, all these states like Samatrat, Kamrup, and Nepal were under the Gupta rule and they paid regular tributes. The conquest of these frontier states was part of a broader strategy to consolidate power. So, all the frontier states which were conquered were a part of his strategy to consolidate power. These regions served as vital connections between northern and southern India under the Gupta rule. So, these regions were important for establishing a connection between the northern part of Indian subcontinent and the southern part of Indian subcontinent under the rule of Samudragupta. Influence on foreign states. How was his influence in the foreign states? Diplomatic engagement. Samudragupta established relations with several independent foreign states. So, several independent foreign states were influenced by Samudragupta, and that influence may have been established in a diplomatic manner. Key foreign entities included the Daivaputras, Shakas, Shahanushahis, and as noted in the inscription. So, Shahanushahis, Shakas, and Daivaputras have been mentioned to be the foreign states who were in relationship with Samudragupta. Diplomatic achievements are also reflected in the exchange of coins with these foreign powers. So, diplomatic achievements are very much noted uh, through the fact that exchange of coins with these foreign powers took place. Notably, Samudragupta had diplomatic exchanges with King Sri Meghavarman of Ceylon. So, Ceylon means present day Sri Lanka, and Samudragupta had established diplomatic relationship with King Sri Meghavarman of Sri Lanka. His reign extended Indian influence beyond the borders, impacting South Asia's political landscape. So, his reign was not only significant in the political history of ancient India, but was also very important for the political landscape of entire Southeast Asia. Relations with Ceylon. So, how was his relationship with the rulers of Sri Lanka? King Sri Meghavarman of Ceylon sent an embassy to Samudragupta's court. So, Sri Meghavarman of Ceylon had sent an ambassador to the court of Emperor Samudragupta. Samudragupta granted permission to build a monastery near the sacred tree at Bodh Gaya. So, Samudragupta granted permission to King Sri Meghavarman of Sri Lanka to build a Buddhist monastery near the sacred tree at Bodh Gaya, which came under his dominion. The structure was 3 stories high with 6 halls and 3 towers made of gold and silver. So, this structure, meaning the structure of the monastery, was 3 story high, and there were 6 halls and 3 towers, and they were made out of gold and silver. And this entire thing was a project of King Sri Meghavarman of Ceylon. The diplomatic exchanges reflects Buddhism's significant role during Samudragupta's reign. So through this building of a monastery near the sacred tree at Bodh Gaya reflects the fact that there was significant role of Buddhism in Samudragupta's reign. The monastery and embassy strengthened ties between India and Ceylon through religious diplomacy. So, this monastery and embassy was very much important for building a bridge between India and Ceylon through cultural and religious interactions. Samudragupta's empire. How was his empire? Samudragupta's empire extended from northern to southern India, incorporating diverse regions. So there was no homogeneity in the empire of Samudragupta. His empire extended from north to southern India, and thus there were diverse cultures and regions under his dominion. The empire included Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and parts of the Deccan, covering strategic territories. So, parts of the Deccan, Chhattisgarh, and Orissa were very much under the rule of Samudragupta, and thus we get to understand the strategic prowess of the emperor. Important cities like Kanchipuram, Koshala, and Vengi were integrated into his empire. So, all these important cities were under the rule of Samudragupta, and they were very much important not only as centers of power but also centers of commercial activities. His rule extended to the Himalayas and Kashmir in the north, to eastern coast in the south, and thus we get to understand the broadness or the territorial prowess of Samudragupta's rule. Samudragupta's military campaigns ensured firm control over vast and diverse empire. So from his military campaigns we see the vast and diverse control and firm control over his empire. Ashwamedha sacrifice. Now, this was a Brahmanical ritual performed by Emperor Samudragupta. Samudragupta revived the ancient Ashwamedha sacrifice after centuries, marking his sovereignty. So, he was the supreme ruler, and the best way to establish that was through the performance of Ashwamedha Yagga, which means that he was the undoubted king throughout the territory. The ritual was significant part of Gupta era religious and political propaganda. So this was an important part in the religious resurrection of Brahmanical system. So after the reign of Emperor Ashok, there was a prominence and more patronage towards Buddhism. But after Samudragupta came to power, after Gupta dynasty came to power, there was a resurrection of Brahmanical religion, and thus it was a significant part of Gupta era religious and political system. The Ashwamedha was used to assert divine right and royal authority in ancient India. So, through the Ashwamedha sacrificial ritual, he asserted divine right over the territory and his royal authority in ancient India. The sacrifice is prominently mentioned in the Allahabad inscription and depicted in coinage. So this has been mentioned in the Allahabad inscription, and also there are Ashwamedha sacrificial coins which has the image of this event depicted in the numismatic sources. Coins and sculptures of the period often depict Ashwamedha, signifying Samudragupta's supreme power. Now, Samudragupta's coinage. What were the main types of coins during the reign of Emperor Samudragupta? Introduction of new coins. Samudragupta introduced 8 different types of coins reflecting his reign's diversity. So there were 8 different types of coins which were first time introduced by Emperor Samudragupta, and from this we understand the diversity of his reign. It included standard, archer, tiger, and lyrist types, each with specific iconography and inscriptions. So the main types of coins were standard coins, archer type coins, tiger, and lyrist type coins, which have each one of them have specific iconography and inscriptions in them. His coinage was primarily in gold, marking a significant economic development in the Gupta era. So, all his coins were mostly made out of gold, and thus, this monetary exchange or monetary relationship during his empire marks the economic development under the rule of Samudragupta. Coins often depicted deities like Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganga, linking royal power to divinity. So these are ancient Brahmanical deities which were depicted in his coins and still worshipped today. So Lakshmi, Saraswati, and Ganga establishes his royal power by linking it with divinity. These coins celebrated Samudragupta's military victories and reinforced the Gupta dynasty's legitimacy. So, these coins celebrated the military victory of Samudragupta and established Gupta dynasty as the legitimate rulers of the subcontinent. Now, lyrist and battle axe type coins. We will go through the main and important types of coins which were introduced by Samudragupta. Depicts Samudragupta playing a veena, highlighting his cultural patronage and artistic inclinations. So, on the left hand side, you can see the pictures where Samudragupta is seen to play a veena, and thus we understand the cultural patronage and artistic inclinations of the emperor. The battle axe type coin is shown at the bottom left corner. The king is shown wielding a battle axe, symbolizing his military strength and conquest. So here we can see that Samudragupta is holding a battle axe, and that signifies his military strength and his conquest throughout this subcontinent. The coins bear inscriptions celebrating victories and Samudragupta's prowess as a warrior. So all these coins also have inscriptions which mention Samudragupta to be an accomplished warrior. Often featured deities like Lakshmi, reflecting the religious aspect of his reign. So Lakshmi has been featured in many on the reverse side of many of these coins, and thus we get to understand the religious aspect during his time. These coins marked a significant shift towards Indianized coinage, distinct from earlier foreign influences. So, this was one of the times when Indian coinage received a boost from and is very much distinct from the foreign influences. So, this is totally indigenous form of numismatic depictions during ancient Indian history. So, kacha and tiger type coins. What were these other type of coins? The inscription reads Kacha having conquered the earth, celebrating military success. So, here we get that Samudragupta has been celebrated as the conqueror of the earth, and that depicts his military success over the other contemporary rulers. The reverse bears inscriptions exterminator of all kings, reinforcing Samudragupta's dominance. So he is like the exterminator of all other rulers. Thus, we understand how much dominant force he was during his time. These rare coins, which are the tiger type coins, depict the king trampling a tiger, symbolizing his strength and conquest. So, in the tiger type coins, we see that King Samudragupta is trampling a tiger, and that indicates his strength and his prowess in military conquest. Goddess Ganga appears on the reverse, indicating the significance of Ganges region in his empire. So, Goddess Ganga appears on the reverse side of his coins, and that signifies the sacred nature of river Ganga during his time. And still now, Ganga is considered to be a sacred river in the Indian subcontinent. These coins are rare artifacts that provides insights into Samudragupta's military achievements and religious beliefs. So all these coins provide a lot of information regarding the military achievements of Emperor Samudragupta and what were his religious inclinations. Ashwamedha type coins. As described before, Ashwamedha sacrifice was a Brahmanical ritual performed by Samudragupta in order to assert his sovereignty. So these coins depict a horse standing by a sacrificial post, symbolizing the royal Ashwamedha ceremony. So a horse can be seen standing by a sacrificial post, and thus it symbolizes this Ashwamedha ceremony performed by Emperor Samudragupta. The reverse shows a queen holding a fly whisk, signifying royal sovereignty and divine right. So, in the reverse imagery, we can see a queen is holding a fly whisk, and that signifies the royal sovereignty and divine legitimacy of Emperor Samudragupta. Ashwamedha Parakrama is inscribed celebrating the successful completion of the sacrifice. So, this legend has been found in the Ashwamedha type coins of Samudragupta, which indicate the fact that there was a successful completion of the sacrifice. The Ashwamedha coins reinforce Samudragupta's claims to power and divine sanction. So, through these coins, Samudragupta's claims to power and divine legitimacy has been sanctioned. These coins are key symbols of Gupta dynasty's religious practices and political propaganda. So these are the key symbols which project the fact that Gupta dynasty were very much involved in religious practices. Samudragupta as a poet and musician. So now we will delve into the personal qualities as has been mentioned in the different sources about Emperor Samudragupta. Samudragupta was known for his artistic talents, including poetry, music, earning the title Kaviraj. Kaviraj means king of poets. So Samudragupta is noted for his artistic talents, and that include poetry and music, and thus he gained the title of Kaviraj. He is often depicted playing veena on coins, highlighting his appreciation for music. So he was very much culturally inclined, especially towards music, and that has been noted in the coins where he is seen playing a veena. Samudragupta is credited with composing several Sanskrit verses reflecting his literary prowess. So, several Sanskrit verses have had been composed by Emperor Samudragupta, and that depicts his literary efficiency. His titles and achievements in music and poetry are documented in the inscriptions. So, all his achievements and titles, the titles which focus on his achievements have been documented in different inscriptions. His reign is seen as a blend of martial prowess and cultural refinement, setting a precedent for future rulers. So he served as an example to all the future rulers. Samudragupta's dual talents as a warrior and a patron of arts is attributed to the Gupta Empire's cultural richness. So his dual talents is very much significant as a patron of art and also as a warrior. Now, Allahabad Pillar's praise, how he has been praised in the Allahabad Pillar. The Allahabad Pillar inscription glorifies Samudragupta's conquest and reign. So, here the emperor has been praised extensively by glorifying his conquest and reign, referred to as the exterminator of all kings, reflecting his widespread victories. So, he is the vanquisher of all other powers during his time, and that explains his widespread victories. Documented conquests from the Himalayas to the southern seas, showing his military might. So, in the Allahabad Pillar inscription, we get documentation of his conquest from the Himalayas to the southern seas. The pillar remains a significant symbol of Gupta power and Samudragupta's dominance. So, this pillar is a symbol of how powerful Guptas were. Scholars like V.A. Smith have recognized this inscription as one of the most important sources of the Gupta era. So, this inscription is the most important source of the Gupta dynasty. Now, Samudragupta's governance. How was his governance? How were his administrative dominance? Administrative reforms overhaul the governance structures, introducing new administrative practices and titles. So, new administrative practices and titles were introduced during his times. Samudragupta Samudragupta's reforms brought stability with focus on effective governance across his vast empire. So, his strategies brought stability with focus on effective governance across all the regions in his empire. He issued pure gold coins, establishing Gupta dynasty's reputation for economic stability and prosperity. Now, to issue pure gold coins, the emperor must be very rich, and thus, through the issuing of pure gold coins, he established the Gupta dynasty's reputation and also indicated that his reign was very much prosperous uh, in the context of economy. Maintain strong internal and external diplomatic ties, ensuring the empire's influence extended beyond its borders. So his influence was not only restricted to his own empire but also spread beyond its borders. His governance reforms influenced subsequent Indian dynasties, laying the foundation for a stable and prosperous empire. So, he laid the foundation of a stable and prosperous empire. Now, military conquest and campaigns. How were the military conquest and campaigns significant during the reign of Emperor Samudragupta? Samudragupta's military campaigns unified vast regions of India under Gupta rule. So, the first and foremost point is that Samudragupta's military campaigns brought a large amount of territory under the dominion of Gupta dynasty. He achieved decisive victories in Aryavarta and southern India, solidifying his control over these regions. So, the entire region of Aryavarta and the northern part of southern India was under his dominion. He incorporated frontier states and subdued the forest tribes, expanding the empire's boundaries. So, all the forest tribes were subdued during his time and also incorporated the frontier states under his empire. And thus, he expanded the boundary of the Gupta dynasty's rule. Samudragupta's conquests were followed by integration of diverse cultures under a unified Gupta administration. So, diverse culture were integrated into one, and thus we got a unified Gupta administration. Often referred to as the Indian Napoleon for his military strategies and extensive conquest, leaving a lasting impact on Indian history. So, by the British or the Western historians, he has been referred to as the Indian Napoleon. But this is morally wrong because Napoleon came approximately 1500 years after Emperor Samudragupta. So, in that sense, Napoleon should be referred to as Samudragupta of Europe. This interpretation should not be carried on by the Indian historians because Samudragupta is the first of its kind. Diplomatic relations. How were the diplomatic relations during his time? Established diplomatic ties with Southeast Asian powers, including Ceylon and beyond. So he established diplomatic relationship with Southeast Asian powers, including powerful kingdoms like Ceylon. His diplomatic efforts promoted cultural exchange, particularly in the spread of Buddhism. So, his diplomatic efforts led to the spread of Buddhism farther into the Indian subcontinent. Engaged in trade relations with foreign powers, evidenced by the circulation of coins and tribute. So, he had very good commercial relations with foreign powers, and that can be seen through the circulation of coins and tributes. Samudragupta's reign was recognized by foreign rulers as reflected in their inscriptions and records. So his reign was recognized by the foreign powers, and that can be evidence from the inscriptions and records of those foreign rulers. His diplomatic and military strategies had a profound influence on neighboring regions, extending Gupta's influence far beyond India. So, the military and diplomatic strategies adapted by Emperor Samudragupta led to his growing influence not only in the neighboring regions of India but also far beyond Indian subcontinent. Legacy of Samudragupta. Now we will go through a summary of the entire presentation. Samudragupta's reign marked the beginning of a new era in Indian history, known for its military and cultural achievements. So, this reign was very much important in Indian history because of its military and cultural achievement. He was a significant patron of arts, literature, and music, contributing to the cultural zenith of Gupta Empire. His campaigns reshaped the Indian subcontinent, uniting it under Gupta rule and earning him the title of Indian Napoleon by Western historians. Introduced reforms that stabilized the empire's administration and economy, laying the groundwork for future prosperity. Samudragupta's legacy continued to influence Indian history, with his reign often considered the golden age of ancient India. So that was all about Emperor Samudragupta. We have gone through the different sources of his reign and what each of them describes. Hope this video was helpful to you in understanding the Gupta dynasty in detail, and please support me so that I can bring brighter contents in future. Thank you so much for your love and support.